Okay, Wednesday, 7th of January 2025. So Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. How the Bitcoin market infrastructure is changing. Bitcoin is for enemies. Now, there's two main things to understand here. Bitcoin is for enemies, as the meme goes, but also the plays in the space are going to get bigger and bigger because of that first principle. So it's worth understanding the first principles of Bitcoin with regards to it being open source code, computer science, maths and physics. Very nice. So computer code or computer science insofar as open source code, meaning anyone can use it. Anyone can adopt Bitcoin and integrate it into their business model, their balance sheet, you name it. Create new products like what strategy you're doing and Metaplan, and who knows who else in the future will be creating all kinds of unique things, such as I imagine Apple in the future will create their own Bitcoin wallet, and maybe Amazon will integrate it somehow into their stores. Very nice. So fundamentally Bitcoin is for enemies insofar as open source code, just how in the same way oxygen is for everyone, chairs is for everyone, water is for everyone, gravity is for everyone, maths is for everyone. Anyone and everyone can use these technologies because by definition they're open source. Oxygen and gravity, anyone can use it. Same with Bitcoin. And anyone will use it. People you like, you don't like, people you never heard of, people not even born yet in the future will be using it. Bitcoin natives, in the same way we have digital natives, in the same way you could say we have car natives, people who are just born into it, the future Zoomers, so to speak. The future Bitcoin natives is for them, and because of that people will be using it and building on top of it. Now in 2021, I think it was November 2021, Elon said that Tesla are no longer accepting Bitcoin as payment for Tesla cars, and that caused a bit of a crash in the market. I can't remember the details and the time exactly, but that happened, and it meant that back then the world's richest man can do a tweet or an X post and change the entire market structure, change the entire market. Things can happen. Now, as more and more people enter the space and more technologies built on top of Bitcoin, because remember it's for enemies, as more people use the technology, it's going to take bigger and bigger magnitudes of actions and decisions and tweets and catastrophes, whatever else, to shift the market in a meaningful way. As the infrastructure, the plumbing, the technology is built and trusted and expanded on, etc., it's going to take more and more black swan events and bigger swan events to move the market. So for example, a few months ago in 2025, autumn I think it was, Galaxy Digital, I believe, they sold 80,000 Bitcoin and it barely moved the market 3 or so percent. Exactly. So in the past, that would have caused, 10 years ago, that would have caused a big sell-off. But now, barely moves the market. And if Elon does something else like that, it will barely move the market at all. It's slither. And then that means that in the future, it's going to be orders of magnitude bigger for meaningful change. So in the future, you'll be hearing news like, I don't know, Russia is going to acquire 1 million Bitcoin over the next 10 years. And that'll move the market in a meaningful way. And in 10 years after that, it'll be something like the United Nations wants to acquire half the Bitcoin network. 10 or so million Bitcoin over the next 50 years. Aggressive buying, whatever else, things like that. That's going to shift the market. And in the next few years, you'll hear things like Apple wants to acquire 1,000 Bitcoin a day to use as collateral for their bonds, for example. That kind of news will shift the market. What shifted the market in the past is going to have less and less meaning in the future. Just how in the same way you look at the Bitcoin price and the hash rate as well, and you see the price of Bitcoin in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, December 2017, 18 was a hell of a crash from 20,000 all the way down to 3,000 in spring, summer 2018. That is going to be a blip, a tiny, barely visible blip on the price chart in the future. It's going to be just a dust, just a speck of dust on the price chart. just how the hash rate will be a speck of dust in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, because in 10, 20, 30 years from now, it'll be 10, 100x compared to what it is now. So the hash rate today will look like child's play. Same with the price, same with the infrastructure, same with the actors in the space, those that are shifting and moving the market, the key decision makers in the boardrooms, in the executive suites, or the C-suites we could also say, or in the chambers of Parliament and Houses of Commons, Houses of Lords, House of Lords, etc., etc. Those, and then beyond, in the United Nations General Assembly, or the Cobra emergency meetings in the UK, and beyond, you know, I'm trying to think what's beyond that. NASA will one day, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they will do the world's first interplanetary transaction, sending one Bitcoin from Texas, Houston, we have a problem, so Houston, Texas, to London, to the Mars, to the Mars or Moon colony. And that will shift the market in a meaningful way, in ways that right now we can't even imagine, or not even possible. Or that transaction in 100 years from now will cause a bigger market swing in Bitcoin's price than the entire market cap of Bitcoin today. Meaning, in 100 years from now, when that happens, when NASA sends one Bitcoin from Houston to the moon or Mars, and it takes 10 minutes, the price of Bitcoin will increase by 100,000. At least like that, in the course of whatever, 10 or so minutes. And that's going to be increasingly common. Yes, powerful. And that's happening. And remember, because all this is possible because Bitcoin fundamentally is for enemies. It's for everyone, as it is when you take a descriptive approach to what it is. It's open source code. And open source code is open to everyone. Just how in the same way gravity is, oxygen is, chairs are, light is, you name it. In the same way, anyone and everyone can use it. People you like, people you don't like, and people not even born today. Yeah, very important to understand. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.